What's up guys and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing another comic book review. For this one we're going to be doing issue 4 of the Alien 3 Unproduced Screenplay by William Gibson comic. Now this is issue 4 out of 5. This is the cover I have for it. It has a very stylized red xenomorph. It looks more like the alien dog from Alien 3. We have the little tiny little mouth thing coming out there. It looks more like the dog alien than the typical xenomorph we see, so that's a bit weird. So starting off, we get a confirmation that the big cuboid mysterious object that has been in the previous few issues that we saw a xenomorph hiding in is the cooler grid for one of the ships. If you were to treat this as a film, this would be going into the final act, towards the end of the middle act of the story, so we can definitely see things are picking up in this issue. It started off pretty slow, as you'd imagine, with world building for a new movie, and this follows on with the third act structure of a movie. This is like where shit goes down in this issue. We get more clarification about what's going on with Bishop, what side he's on, and what his objectives are. And we start off pretty action-packed and pretty fucking gory in this issue with a scene where one of the Weyland-Yutani members just kind of goes wild and crazy, and there's a lot of xenomorph action. Something that we've not seen before in the movies previous to this. It actually takes a lot of ideas from Prometheus and Covenant, like what I did say in the previous issue. It seems to be following on with that as well, so there seems to be a lot of things in Covenant and Prometheus that were in this screenplay. I'm not sure how direct of a screenplay adaptation this is, but it seems to be very straightforward, that some of the ideas, especially with things like Fifield and his transformation, very similar to what happens in this issue. And I won't go into too much spoilers, but it's very visual and very gory. There's even a bit where you see a lot of shattered bones of a skull and an eyeball sliced in two. So yeah, very graphic, but I loved every bit. And I thought that scene was a perfect way, as an evolution of Alien and Aliens, for a way to one-up the chestburster scene. This would definitely come as a surprise in a movie. If this would have happened on the screen, I would have absolutely loved to have seen it. It was just so out of nowhere, and I was literally read it and went, what the fuck's happening here? And what came afterwards was just perfect. It was awesome. There's one scene in particular where a character is murdered and dragged away by a xenomorph, and it was very reminiscent of the scene in Alien 3 where the leader of the prisoner, the commander guy, is dragged away into the ceiling. So I'm not sure if the Fincher script is a bit of an evolution of this one in certain aspects. We see that a certain character is actually disposed from this story. They're actually sent away in an escape pod, which is quite a daring thing to do in a movie, especially when it's sort of a main character, where they kind of just send them away and the action goes on to the secondary characters. So that would have been really interesting to see, and obviously would have led up to more stories for the future in future sequels with that character specifically. Another really part of this comic issue is that there's a certain character who's going through a certain transformation as well, and they decide to take themselves away from the rest of the crew and sort of dispose of themselves, and it's a really cool image. I won't spoil what actually happens, there'll probably be a little shot of it here, but it's just a really cool way to kind of freeze frame this transformation as it's happening, and it's really cool to see the mid-form transformation, and it actually looks a lot like Fifield's deleted scene transformation from Prometheus. If you haven't seen that, check it out, because it's very similar, I think. Aboard the Rodina ship, which I believe is where all of the Weyland-Yutani guys, the scientists with the long mustache and the beard, were, we go back to there and we see that chaos has broken out, and this is where we get our first glimpse of something that is more like Aliens, where we see a lot of hives and a lot of people on the walls. And yeah, it gives a little bit of feeling of the hive mentality. We see a lot of people just in the walls, and there's specifically one creature which I'm not sure what's actually happening to this person, but they're a mess. They have bones, their fingers, half their torso's missing, their faces like halfway ripped. I'm not sure what they're trying to do with it, or maybe that'll get explained in the final issue, but it's just very unlike what we see in the Aliens do with hosts. It actually reminded me a lot of John Carpenter's The Thing, with the way that the creature or the human or the host looks. So if you've seen that movie or the prequel, you'll know what I mean when you see it. It's very gory and very like body horror. Like I said, with connections to Covenant and Prometheus, there is a part in this where the communication devices of the ship are destroyed, and they have no way of getting a message out for a few days. And I believe, I'm not sure if it's a ship that's going to them after the 3 days, or if it's their ship, but they're holding a shit ton of colonists. And like what you saw in Alien Covenant, a ship heading towards a direction full of colonists with xenomorphs is not going to end well, really, is it? 300 hosts that could be infected and turned into an army of xenomorphs. So I thought that was a really interesting thing, how that was pretty much identical to what happens in Covenant, or at least what will be happening in the sequel to Covenant. I mentioned in a previous issue review that they had this huge animal biodome thing where they had all these creatures on this space station with sort of like fake grass and fake sky to make it look like it's outdoors, and I said how this would be really cool to see brought to life in this day's like technology, and how it would be really cool to see a xenomorph in that, and you definitely get to see some action in this biodome area. And it's interesting how we see a animal's ecosystem be affected by the alien life cycle too. Obviously we've seen a human host version of a xenomorph and the dog alien and some other ones, but we get to see one of I think it might be a lemur, so we get a new type of xenomorph in this, which looks really awesome, especially the way it looks with its face. I'm not sure if it's taking the characteristics of the specific animal, but it has these really glowing red eyes. We've never seen that on an alien before. In fact, we never really see any eyes on the aliens besides the newborn in Alien Resurrection, so it looked really, really cool. It reminded me of the Terminator. And this one leaves on a bit of a cliffhanger where we see the good guys, Hicks and that, are starting to arm up and try to fight against these xenomorphs. So that is what leads into the next issue, which is going to be the final issue of this series. I'm loving this series so far, and honestly this has been my best issue so far, with just the rate of how things have progressed, with all the action, all the gore, all the xenomorphs showing up finally. So I hope you've enjoyed this review. Let me know what you think down below. Would you have loved to have seen this on the big screen? And yeah, let me know what you think, and I guess I'll be reviewing issue 5, the final issue, very soon. So thank you all, and I'll see you guys next time.